All right, so we got a battery laid on. First thing I'm gonna do here, quick test. I'm going to disconnect these two clips. There's one here and one here. We're gonna pull this air intake duct out of the way. That's gonna give us access to our battery. And then I'm gonna take a multimeter. We're just gonna do a quick check on the battery, and that's gonna tell us if our alternator is not charging or not. So normally with the car sitting idle like this, we want to see battery voltage, which ideally should be 12.6 volts. And that can fluctuate a little bit. 12.4 is all right, and a little bit higher than 12.6 is fine too. Anything below 12 is considered a discharged battery in my books. Now with the car running though, we want to see that voltage higher because the alternator is going to be running. It's going to be pushing amperage into the battery, charging up the battery, and keeps the battery sort of topped off while supplying power to the vehicle's electrical system. And we want to see that battery voltage at about 14.4, somewhere in between 14 and 15 volts ideally would be perfect. So when we grab the meter, we'll check that out. All right, so just sitting idle here, we can see we've got 12.34 volts, 346 if you want to get really technical. So 12.3, that's not too bad. It's slightly under the 12.6, but not terrible. Now, keep in mind, it is very cold outside. So batteries do not work so well in the cold. The colder it gets, the harder it is for the engine to start, draws more power. The battery sometimes will suffer in the cold if it's an older battery. Generally, you're gonna get like 5 to 7 years out of a battery. I've seen some batteries go 10 years, but you know, anything after 5, it's starting to degrade basically. So I'm gonna start the car now and we're gonna see what that number changes to. And I wanna see it change to 14.4 volts. That's what I wanna see. All right, 14.1. So the alternator is charging. So that's good. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to shut the car off. I'm going to get my battery tester and we're going to check this battery. You can see we've got a battery sensor here. And if there's maybe a bad cell inside or something where, you know, the alternator is pushing out power to the battery, but the battery is maybe not taking a charge as much as it should, or something like that, you know, this sensor may pick that up. So let's do a test on it. We'll see what it says. All right, so we got a battery tester. I'm gonna hook this thing up. Now right away, it's gonna show us some battery voltage. You can see we're at 12.78, and it's going to drop down over time. Remember when we started, it was 12.4 or 12.3. So as we just ran the car for 30 seconds or a minute, it's pushed a charge into the battery, which is going to bring our surface charge up a little bit. So that's fine. We want to do a battery test. We have a lead acid battery. It's not absorbed glass mat or AGM. And then our cold cranking amps, you can see are, looks like 775, which is a pretty big battery. So CCA, cold cranking amps. Put that up to 775. Going to test it. Now it says bad replace. You can see our cold cranking amps, even though we're at 12.6 volts, which is good, our available cold cranking amps, how much juice it's able to deliver on a cold start or initial start is pretty low. So there's definitely an issue with the battery, whether the lead plates inside are sulfated. I don't know. We never cut apart batteries or anything like that. So, but batteries do degrade over time. So yeah, basically the battery has run its course over the last, like you say, it's been in for like 5 or 6 years. So time for a new battery. Luckily it's not the alternator because they're not the funnest to replace, but that's pretty much it. Now, there is actually like a test you can do without having to use this thing and just using the multimeter. I forget how to do that. I should probably talk to the person that knows how to do that, and then we'll make a video on that someday. But long story short, battery light on, it says change battery, it needs battery. And just to confirm that it needs a battery, I would do the alternator test with the multimeter first, just to make sure the alternator is actually outputting something, and if it is, put a battery in it. Thanks for watching. You got any questions, throw them in the comment section below. I'd be glad to answer anything you have. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll see you in the next one.